Enerpark is a German-based company. Globally, we have done more than 3,000 megawatts of solar, out of which we own around 1,960, close to 2,000 megawatts. We are doing O&M for about 2,400 megawatts. So globally, this is how we are placed. We are placed mainly in Europe, and we had a business, a very thriving business in the US, which we recently divested. We are present in India, Middle East, and North Africa, and now we are growing in Australia. So this is our global footprint. We are number one in Europe in terms of say solar investors, and we are ranked number 7 in the world. In India, so we started in 2013 and we have done close to about 165 megawatt of solar. We own around 8 megawatt of solar assets and we do about 48 megawatts of O&M. What you see in the Indian map is where we are present as on date. Some of the marquee projects for us are doing the solar project besides the runway at Delhi International Airport. We have done a solar project on top of cranes which move cargo from ship to shore, and we also did the relocation at the Delhi International Airport. Who are we as people? We believe that we are the experts in solar. We want to educate people, so we take pride in imparting our knowledge to customers and our partners. So please treat us as your partners, be it with business or without business. As Enerpark, the core qualities which we take pride on are we are open, we are transparent, and we are approachable. We care for our customers. We are agile for our customers' requirements. We can quickly adapt. We are specialized in solar. We are professional and we are reliable. So this is our reputed clientele, which we have as on date. We would love to have your company also in our brand wall. Now jumping into the webinar, I am extremely pleased and honored to invite Mr. Govindraj. So Mr. Govindraj has been a veteran in the Kurlon industries. He has more than 20 years of experience in various domains, which includes O&M, project management, erection and commissioning of plants. He has also worked earlier in the Kirloskar Electric Company. At Kurlon, he's taking care of corporate maintenance, and he is the pioneer at Kurlon to implement solar. You will hear more from Govindraj in a minute. Just to give you a brief of Kurlon, I mean, Kurlon probably is present in all our homes. I mean, they are India's largest mattress company, and it's again one of the Indian companies which have grown to such a big stature. A very brief about the solar plants which we have constructed at Kurlon. So we have built more than 1,500 kilowatt of solar for Kurlon across their locations. So we have built in Bangalore, Gwalior, Bangalore, in fact, 3 places. The plants have been running really well. I will let Mr. Govindraj speak about it. And I would like to hand over the webinar to Mr. Govindraj, where, sir, I would request you to kindly introduce yourself in your own words and also speak a few lines about solar, which we have installed at Kurlon. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Very good afternoon, all of you. It's nice that we are getting in through the webinar, because we have to maintain the social distancing. This is the best way of communication. So this is what we are doing it on everyday basis. So coming to myself, my name is Govindraj. I am working here in Kurlon. Around 22 years experience. 22 years experience in the field of maintenance activity, and I'm taking care of the special purpose machine and maintenance of all the activities across all the plants. We have totally 10 plants all over India, and this Bangalore plant is a very old plant, and this we started during 1962, and from there we started our journey. Initially, we started our journey through the mattress, and now we have a various segment. complete home comfort products is available in Kerala. And we are also supplying the product to IKEA. So this is basic uh, uh, about our factory. And coming back to my profile, um, see, we have uh, one more factory is coming up in Assam. And is it audible?
You're audible, sir. Please
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
And we have taken the one more the location in Andhra Pradesh, 67 acres, and we wanted to expand our business. Uh, so this is one thing. And with coming to the solar, the capacity, almost all four plants. In north, we have in Gwalior 1000 kilowatt solar power system. In south, in three plants, we have a rooftop solar mount system with a 550 kilowatt in the various locations in and around Bangalore. All of them is connected to grid. And normally, what happens? We are the first. Whenever there is no production in our utilities, so those time the power will be exported to grid, and we are getting 9 rupees 56 paise. We are the first people who entered into the agreement in Karnataka policy. So that is about the Bangalore unit. Whereas in the Gwalior also, we are in Madhya Pradesh, we are the first people to enter into the solar plant. So initially we gone for 200 kilowatt, then 400, and again 400. All put together, 1 megawatt solar power plant is um, situated in our factory. That is a ground mounting system. That is also with the net metering policy. So whenever during the holidays or whenever the power is exported to the grid, so normally that power will be adjusted in the next month. So that is the policy which is available in Madhya Pradesh. So since the tariff is very high in Gwalior, around 8 rupees 50 paise, so we are really enjoying this solar power. So the main idea is, our management focused towards this solar is, one thing is wanted to go for a green energy, and secondly there is a lot of tax benefit is there. We all know about that. And the third thing is the quality of the power is fantastic. That is almost the power factor is a 0.99 unity power factor, I can say. So since from the beginning of in our solar erection and commissioning, we never faced any problem. And apart from this, there is one more 3.3 megawatt solar power plant is also there in our Karnataka. It is situated in Bijapur. It is a farmer scheme. So there, what happened? The complete power is connected to the substation, and so every day we monitor sitting from Bangalore, and that is a 3.3. So all put together, so we have around close to around 5 megawatt solar power.
Oh,
So
very
this
nice.
is about the background of the solar.
Fantastic, sir. You have been
Yeah.
pioneers and you have also done so many projects.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to ask you, when you were the pioneer in, say, Madhya Pradesh and in Bangalore, what were like the main challenges which you had to face inside your company to sell solar, I mean, to make solar happen?
See, the biggest challenges is initially when the policy. See, the first thing is the policy. Policy of the Karnataka was fantastic those days. The tariff was very good, and return on investment was when we worked out the financial feasibility, and return on investment was really worked out very well. So that was the main reason of going into the solar. And secondly, of course, our energy consumption is also very high, because on an average, if you look at our bill, um, I think in Bangalore around we are paying around 20 lakhs. So this is one more added advantage of since the solar is almost 25 years guarantee, and the payback period is just within 3 to 3.5 years, and rest 22 years we can enjoy this power. No, so that is a major thing which we have taken into the management, and we got it approved.
Okay. Sir, wanted to ask you now, there are
Yeah,
both CAPEX and OPEX form of doing business.
yeah,
Till now, Kurlon has majorly gone for CAPEX. Any
yes.
particular reason why you thought CAPEX was more beneficial than OPEX till now?
I can say, the OPEX is the model which we are just thinking now because, what the COVID situation, and now one megawatt solar power is spending in the one unit.
Yep.
So we were still, we are thinking only the capex model because the capex, the major advantage is, see, our payback is just around 3.5 years, looking at our energy bill. So once 3.5 years, the break even is over, then rest 22 years, we can enjoy the entire solar power. That is one more thing. So then it will become the total asset for the company. And secondly, the OPEX model is the one which we are just thinking about now because management is not so serious about the OPEX model as of now. But we are discussing. And if you look at, see, somebody is selling the power at 4 rupees for 3 rupees and all. That means, without profit, nobody is selling the power, right? So that much energy, why we have to buy from outside? If we wanted to have our own capex model, it will be better. So
Okay.
that is one model which we are thinking, but we have not decided as of now.
Okay. 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 Okay.
It
Sir,
is all
when
because
you
of the
thank
because of the COVID situation and because of the cash flow and because our already we thought of going for a solar around couple of months ago, around down the line around 6 months. Our roof stability is fantastic and roof is designed for the solar, and
okay.
definitely we are thinking to go for a capex,
Okay.
and I think it will take few more days to take a decision.
Okay. I mean, my next question was coming to that. You
Yeah,
mentioned that the roof stability is good. So,
yeah.
what are some of the risks which you kind of assessed and then assessed internally before thinking of solar for a plant?
See, the main thing is we have to think our solar. Already, the roof is fantastic, stability is good, and we need to get one a certificate from the third party saying that the roof stability is good or bad, because it has to take care so much load of the solar panel, as well as it has to take so much the wind capacity. All that we will assess from the third party. So once if it is the assessment is done, and just already we have experienced last 4.5 years, it is working fine without any problem. And in fact, people are going on the roof and cleaning the module, and we
Okay.
are getting a good generation.
Okay. Sir, talking about this,
Yeah.
how important was safety considerations when you went for solar? I mean, what were some of the things that came into your mind, and how are you mitigating the safety issues?
The main thing is, see, we wanted to, one is the quality of the power, no doubt, because the quality of the power is fantastic. The thing is, in the solar power, what happens since it is synchronized with the grid, and in fact, we have synchronized with the DG also.
Okay.
One is the DG synchronization is really working very well. Our fuel consumption has gone down like anything, because normally when we there is no power, what happens, the DG is running at the threshold limit, and the consumption of fuel is very very limited, because in some remote cases what happens, the power failure is very high. So in that case, what happens, the DG we are operating, so the it will work only at the rate of around 30% of the load, and the rest 70% will comes from the solar. That is the one thing. And we're looking at the bill. If you look at our because normally if you last 5 years down the line, if you look at the tariff of the electricity bill, kept on increasing,
Okay.
and today you look at the price, it is very high. So that way, definitely, I never seen in my experience of 22 years I worked in the process industry, and before that also, I never seen the tariff has come down.
Okay.
And even the quality of power also, every time it is fluctuating, and frequencies, one or the other problems are there. But if you look at the solar plant where we have installed, Absolutely, there is no problem with the thing like power factor and quality of the power and the harmonic level and all that. So that is
Okay.
one the biggest thing which we have seen. That is why initially we have gone for 200 kilowatt, then again 400 and again 400. So that is
Okay.
how we could able to touch around 5 megawatt.
Okay. So you have also grown with the time. I mean, you
Yeah, yeah,
experimented with small capacity and then you went
yeah,
for
yeah.
higher capacity.
Now we are seriously thinking about 1 megawatt. I think
Okay.
hopefully it will be through maybe by next month or so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sir, I would like to ask you another angle. I mean, you briefly mentioned about it. How difficult is the regulatory permissions and process for you at Kurlon? I mean, how was your experience for that?
Uh, See, when the policy was clear, I think I am the person who was gone, to the complete the policy. What is that policy looks like? So I took almost 1 hour to pay some amount to the Bescom and got the clearance from them. Rest all there is nothing much we have found that there is no difficulty at all. Because even if you look at the government angle, they will also giving more support in the case of solar. They themselves, if you look at our executive engineer or whomever it is, when we approached, when we are going for a solar, in fact, they're very happy and they supported in all aspects. They
Okay.
came there, they stood there, and they given the approval and whatever the approval which is mandatory for the regulation which we have done it in a very smooth. In fact, we are the first, and we thought it was very difficult actually, but we
Okay.
found it was very easy. There is no
Okay.
doubt in it.
Oh, okay. That's nice to know, sir. I mean, now, during your operations of solar, how much time does solar take in your day-to-day activities?
Uh, See, it is again depends on the location to location. If you look at the Gwalior plant, the maintenance is very minimum. Hardly every fortnight they are cleaning the module. So only it is a cleaning of the module. Apart from that, nothing else. See, every day we monitor on the web is there and internet connection. Just through that we are monitoring what is that generation and all that. But apart from that, maintenance angle and even last week also I was discussing with my maintenance team. They're hardly going to the solar area.
Okay.
So I told them, just go there and have a look because uh, see, it is very clear the mindset is 25 years there should not be any problem, and inverter there is no issue, and whatever issue is there, in the single platform we are just looking in the computer. So I
Okay.
said better go to the site and see what is happening because our Gwalior plant is such a huge around 25 acres land, and people are since there is no maintenance, people are not going there.
Okay.
So sitting at one corner, they are monitoring everything. That is what is happening since last 4 years.
Okay. But that is what solar, the beauty of solar, no, sir. I mean, there is no moving part, so things are okay in that way.
Yeah, there is nothing. There is absolutely zero maintenance except cleaning. Cleaning
Okay.
also sometimes it is better to have a camera and monitor what is the kind of dust accumulation on the panel because we are sitting in Bangalore and we are asking them to clean the panel there.
Huh.
Uh,
Okay.
the moment rain comes and next day generation will be fantastic. I have observed many times.
Okay.
So only a cleaning part. Apart from that,
Okay.
nothing else is there.
Okay. So, very nice, sir. I mean, your maintenance is low and easy to install. I mean, can you just share how much savings on a percentage basis? How much do you end up saving from solar across your plants?
Uh, for example, I is it possible to share? Okay, can I
Yeah, yeah,
share
please, sir. If
some of
you have
my?
something.
Can you see this screen, sir?
Yes, sir. We can.
See, in this, this is for the month of June, I will take it.
Okay.
See, look at this. This is the Gwalior plant foam and the sofa spring. See, Gwalior is 1000 kilowatt.
Okay.
And the total, the solar generation is 1,11,088 for the month of June. That is the energy kWh. Okay. So this is the solar generation. And the solar consumption for our plant is around 84,000 units we have consumed in the factory.
Okay.
And the rest is exported. Exported is around 26,942 has been exported to the grid. Now this is during Sundays and holidays. And similarly, if you look at the foam unit, it is a 300 kilowatt capacity. And whereas our solar generation is around 31,902 units. And whereas the solar consumed is 16 and export is 14.
Okay.
So this we are getting it around 9 rupees 56 paise, whatever exported. And if you look at the total Gwalior foam and sofa spring, all that, around 1,66,000.
1,60,000.
Yeah, this is for the month of this is for the month of June.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like saying 1,66,000 units you got for free. I mean, apart from the capex. Oh wow, that's a very important number, sir. I mean, if you look at that 7 rupees also, you have saved around 10 more than 15, 20.
Yeah. I can also share one more screen here. You can just see the Gwalior plant. Every day we monitor and we just enter here.
Okay.
See, this is our. Look at. I will go to the last column. The blue color is related to solar.
Okay.
So the solar generation and whatever the solar generated and solar utilized, solar export, percentage of utilized and percentage of solar export. And there the unit cost is 8 rupees 50 paise.
Okay.
So if you look at the solar part alone, you see this O column every month on month, what is the saving?
Wow.
So here, if you see my last month saving, this is 9,44,000 is the saving.
Okay.
So the previous month is around 9,45,000. So this is the saving about our Gwalior. Similarly, all the plants it is there in the Excel sheet.
Oh, very nice. I mean, it's easy 9 to 10 lakhs of savings every month.
Yeah, if you look at our foam unit, 300 kilowatt solar, and this is the total saving in the T column. So as of today, I can say around 41 lakhs is the saving.
Okay.
So
from a 300 kilowatt plant.
Yeah, 300.
For how many years is this, sir?
This is around close to 4 years.
Okay. Saving is quite substantial.
Yeah. That is why management is again thinking for one more megawatt in our new plant, which is coming up in already. The construction is going on.
Okay.
Machineries, all erection is going on. Hopefully by next month, I think we will take up the call. That is for 1 megawatt.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, sir, typically how many months does it take for you to decide on implementing solar for a plant?
So this is already decided. Yeah, what happens if we wanted to go for a solar plant? All our plant wanted to have a green solar system. The only thing, in certain plants, it is very difficult because, it is a very old factory and roof stability is not good. Area is a constraint. And wherever we are going for a new plant and new location, so during the design stage itself, we are asking the people to design with the solar stability whatever the load has to be taken, accordingly we are making a building. So since a couple of the buildings are there in Bangalore, it's almost around 50 years old. So again, we are also in the planning to move from here to the Andhra. So that is why we are not investing money on the roof side. Otherwise, almost wherever the roof stability is good, and we have taken a decision.
Okay. So I see you have implemented both ground and rooftops for different plants.
Yeah.
Okay. And the ground plant also, it works out. I mean, the energy generation, obviously at Gwalior, the energy generation is quite good for your ground
Yeah.
plant.
Last month, the generation, I said around 9,40,000 is a
Ha, ha.
saving. It's a rough calculation.
Okay.
So that is a thumb rule calculation which we do every day.
Okay.
Last month calculation is around 9,45,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sir, I mean, thanks for sharing this information. It's very, very useful for
Yeah.
us and for our prospective clients. I have one couple of last questions before I open it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Can you briefly tell us how has your experience been working with Enerpark?
Enerpark, there is no doubt, sir. Enerpark, we are very happy, and
Thank you.
see, always the entire team, entire team and Enerpark team always, the customer should win. That is their philosophy. That is what I understood from the day one, of my solar experience. Because whatever that commitment which they have, whatever the target, whatever that meeting schedule, and the quality of the work. And in fact, here I just wanted to say a few things about the Gwalior plant. See, when the Gwalior plant is actually a 10 years old factory.
Okay.
We wanted to go for a roof solar mounting because the 1 megawatt, imagine it occupies almost 3.54 acres of the land.
Yeah.
But we were literally fighting with the Enerpark team, saying that you just put the solar plant on the roof. But they ignored it just because of the stability. They themselves studied the entire roof stability issues and all. They have taken it and finally said it is not stable. So then finally we have gone for a ground mounting system.
Okay.
So there is the commitment and the technical expertise and the quality of the work. So that is the major thing which we have. Still we are with Enerpark.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
That is the beauty of the company.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. So, thank you for giving us this brief. Now, I will open up the webinar for questions from our prospective clients, if there are any. So, please feel free to ask questions to Mr. Govindraj about his experience on solar. We can take questions for the next, say, 5 minutes, and then we can wrap up the webinar.
Sure.
Mr. Shreyans Jain has a question. Please ask, Mr. Jain. Yeah.
Thank you for a very informative session, Anup and Mr. Govindraj, for taking the time. This is Shreyans Jain from Vega India. We're a German company in Ahmedabad in Gujarat. We're looking at solar for about 0.5 megawatt capacity for ground mounted installation.
Okay.
The question that I had was, understand most of your ground installations are a little older. Do you have any bifacial installations?
Sorry, can you just...
Do you have any...
yeah, go ahead, Mr. Jain.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
No, sir, he is asking for ground mount. Do you plan to, or do you already have any bifacial module experience?
No, see, I'm not getting his question actually.
Sir, actually, what is happening nowadays, just to elaborate, nowadays we are getting bifacial modules where modules are able to generate from both sides of the thing. One facing the sun and one facing the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is on the R&D stage. I think I'm not sure about that. And whatever we have installed is a PV regular one.
Yeah. So, Mr. Shreyans, just to answer, when we had installed at Gwalior, bifacial was still a bit expensive and the economics would not sit. But today, bifacials have become more competitive, and nowadays people are finding it to be installed in ground and they're getting good benefits. You
Anup,
have a specific question regarding
yeah,
bifacial? I can ask my
yeah,
technical team to reply to you.
Yeah, I think we can take that offline. It was
Yeah.
more in terms of the cost benefit. So we can take
Okay.
that offline, no issues.
Yeah, so we have a couple of projects where we have done bifacial in India. I will ask Hardik to explain that to you later. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shreyans. Now, Mr. Hitesh Patel has a question. Mr. Hitesh, please carry on.
Sir, I'm Hitesh Patel from TDSG, Mehsana. My question is, which module technology is better, polycrystalline or monocrystalline? Because in Furlong you have mentioned polycrystalline technology in all projects.
Yeah. In Karlan, we have only polycrystalline because that particular time the availability and the financial feasibility and return on investment with the polycrystalline was good, and we have gone for polycrystalline.
Okay, but in current condition, which technology is best, polycrystalline or monocrystalline? Because we are planning for rooftop solar.
Sir, may I ask Subramania to answer that?
hi, I'm Subramaniam. Take care of business development at Enepark. So to answer you, Mr. Hitesh, the recent trend for the last 6 months or even close to a year has been uses of monocrystalline cells rather than polycrystalline cells. Even originally, monocrystalline cells are efficient than polycrystalline cells, but they were not affordable, so to say. There was always like a couple of cents of difference between monocrystalline cells and polycrystalline cells per watt peak. Now, due to the recent change in the cell manufacturing lines and more focus on implementing the mono-PERC technology, the PERC technology, I would not call it mono-PERC technology, the PERC technology, the modules, the cell supply chain has been focusing on generating monocrystalline cells that will add up to better efficiency when we do when we implement the PERC technology over the monocrystalline cells. Hence, the suggested technology to use is monocrystalline PERC technology for now. It will evolve definitely. The power class of the modules, which Mr. Govindraj has put here, would be in the range of 300 kilowatt peak or 300 watt peak or so when they were used in these projects. But now the power class has gone up to 440, and it would further go up to 500 by the end of this year. And per module, I'm talking about. And at the same time, what we would see is perhaps by middle of the next year, you would see heterojunction cells and slightly more advanced technologies than PERC also coming into picture. It is just like how our television sets have evolved from 20-inch sets to 42 to 50 to 60. So it's going to grow up. The module power per square feet area will increase. So for now, in the current situation, yes, mono-PERC half-cut cells are the latest and the best technology available in the market. Yeah. I hope I could answer your question.
Okay, one more question, sir. Is OPEX mode available in Gujarat?
No, the policy in Gujarat does not permit for OPEX installations, and it only allows for capital investment from the owner of the facility or the company that owns that facility and also depends on which class of a company you are, whether you are an MSME or whether you are a outside that range. So it's not possible in Gujarat to the best of our knowledge. And yeah, so that's all I can say about that. It's not, it doesn't permit. The Gujarat policy doesn't permit. And at least until the December this year, and I'm sure it will not happen so soon.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you.
Hitesh? Yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much. Mr. Ashwin Deshmukh also has some questions to Mr. Govindraj, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, actually, I have two questions. One is that I just want to know, your experience about the string inverters. So, which are actually now the good inverters which you normally recommend for the, rooftop and ground-mounted projects?
Mr. Govindraj, would you like to
Yes.
answer? And then we will answer. Yeah.
You're talking about the string inverter?
Yeah, string inverters.
Yeah, all the plant we have a string inverter. It's a Delta make. And since from the day of installation, it is working fine. All the inverters, there is no problem. Because, if you look at the temperature in Madhya Pradesh, it's, initially, we were also thinking whether to have enclosure kind of thing or, kind of a fan or system like that. But, absolutely it is working fine. The Delta inverters are really good. And even in Bangalore also we have a string inverters. All the inverters are connected the Delta only.
Okay, my next question is, this Bangalore 550 kilowatt, is it
Yeah,
a single cluster plant or is it a different 100 kilowatt, 50 kilowatt,
it
something
is
like
a
that?
3 plants. It is
Ah,
one in one place. It is a 300 and 150 with a distance of
and
around 500 meters only. The one more plant is 100 kilowatt.
okay,
So
but in the power will be evacuated to LT or ST? How you are connecting to system?
so it is synchronized with the ST and with a net
At
metering policy.
net metering policy at ST.
Yeah,
Hmm?
all 3 plants, 100, 150, and 300 with the net metering policy. And it is
Uh-huh.
whenever during the holidays, the power is exported to grid.
Sir,
Okay, then
evacuation is happening at LT, sir. Govindraj, sir.
So yeah, there is a LT panel is there, and it is synchronized in the LT panel,
Correct.
but it is
So,
connected to the grid.
yeah, Mr. Ashwin, the answer to your question is solar evacuation is happening at LT, 415 volts.
okay, and then you are using that existing service transformer for the the power to flow to ST, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you are not using a separate step-up trafo near PV system to upgrade the
No. All the plant, even in Gwalior plant also, everything is the synchronization happens in the LT panel, and there is no connection with the HT.
Hey, actually, see, my question is then, suppose you don't have much load on the LT side, and then the power will reverse flow to the service transformer, and then the 11 kV. So, what protection do you envisage in such case, or you simply connect with the LT only?
There is a reverse power protection system is there. RPPS is there, and that will take care of the entire system.
Okay.
There is a reverse power protection relay is there, and that will take care.
So, on where you include this reverse power protection relay in LT or
In
on
the
after
LT,
transformer?
in the LT before transform.
LT side.
Yeah,
Before transformer.
LT side.
Just to add on to that, Mr.
Yeah.
Ashwin, so reverse power protection is usually a standard feature which we are providing. So if in cases where there is no net metering, when there is when no energy has to go to the grid, so the reverse power protection comes into play and stops any reverse power to the grid. So that is being built through our SCADA.
Okay. Hey, suppose for net metering, then you don't have any restriction to go to grid. In that case, what do you use? Do you still use the reverse power protection?
Yes, in that case also you would essentially use, if you don't use net metering and you don't want to go into the grid, you want to restrain the consumption at your plant level, you would definitely go for reverse power protection. That's a mandatory feature that in any eventuality, if there is a possibility, like you rightly explained, for the plant to inject power back into the grid without the existence of a formal agreement between you and the grid provider. So you would then in that case would be penalized for it. So in order to avoid that, we would always set up a reverse power protection in most of our plants, in 99% of the plants, unless they are process plants where the consumption levels are so high that you would really not need to go for a reverse power protection, and then the plant base load itself is much higher than the solar capacity that you are keeping. And to answer your question on string inverters, most of the rooftop systems, or I would rather say 99.9% of rooftop systems are designed with string inverter systems and not with central inverter systems. And in a commercial and industrial establishment, be it whatever scale, a string inverter system is always suggested because it gives you more redundancy, more control on the string level monitoring and performance, analytics, rather than going for a large central inverter that will take care of the entire plant in one go. So usually central inverters are suggested when you're going for projects which are large scale and where there is a policy related power purchase agreement that you would sign up. But even in those cases, even today, close to 500 megawatts of plants, 1 gigawatt level plants are even done with string inverter. So the order of the day, just like how we talked about mono PERC cells for modules, the order of the day for inverters is string inverters, and that's where all the projects will eventually, go into. Investments will go into.
But there is a one CEC guideline now. We have to use some plant controller in case we go for string inverters. So they are restricting that up to 10 megawatt. So that is what I came to know about. If your plant size is more than 10 megawatt, then I think string inverter and making a SCADA and that plant controller will be an issue. So any experience on this?
This is specific to a certain state, sir. I don't see anything related to the CERC guidelines on this, right? You have anything that is specific to the state?
No, not CERC. It is the CEA guidelines. So
okay, the Central Electricity Authority guidelines. Okay.
Authority. So yeah. Any renewable plant beyond 10 megawatt, they want some features, that is not possible with the string inverters. You can.
No, I would get back to you on this, sir, because we are looking at a 420 megawatts plant which is being done with string inverters. I have not come across such a case actually, but I would definitely come back to you on the architecture for that if there is a greater than 10 megawatt plant. Yeah.
Okay, and then my last question will be just to explain about the reverse power flow. Suppose I have a grid restriction and all those things. So suppose I have basically if I don't have a grid restrictions and I can go up to grid power, but for the reverse power flow, that service transformer will operate in a reverse mode. So any specific protection you envisage for that service transformer in a reverse mode? Because see, normally the protections are in the opposite direction for normal working. But once you inject the power in a reverse mode, so my question is whether you envisage any specific protection.
No, I mean, to that. I hear what you're saying, sir. There is a possibility of putting a breaker, in some of these cases. I think just as how you pointed out the CEA guidelines, I think the CEIG guidelines in some states mandates us to put a breaker to avoid this possibility. Yeah. So that protection is through the inclusion of a circuit breaker within the system, and in specific to this case, recently we are looking at a 3 megawatt plant in Tamil Nadu where a similar scenario has been asked by the client, and the way we went about it is to put an extra breaker in the system. Does it answer your question?
Okay, anyway, we can discuss this sometime later offline in detail.
So, sure. I mean, I have noted down your two questions. We will get back to you, sir, definitely.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, the string inverter CEA related question as well as the protection for the service transformer. Yeah.
Service transformer.
Yeah, we'll come back to you on this, Mr. Ashwin.
Thank you.
Next
Thank you very
question is by Mr. Jay Kumar Lalwani. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Jay Kumar Lalwani. I am working with SMS Group, Bhubaneswar. I have one question. This when we are talking about the protection, and when we do have less plant load, and this our system will be exporting the power to the grid. Okay. So how our system will be protected if there is any fault in HT line? Okay, when we are exporting from solar system using our service transformer, and it is connected to ST utility side, and there is a fault in utility, somewhere, some in the fault in service line or in the grid somewhere else. So ultimately we have to isolate our system also.
System isolation.
Yeah.
If there is a fault in, I'm Govindraj here. Can I answer your question?
Yeah, please, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, see, suppose if there is a fault in the grid, and definitely there won't be any grid power actually. And then you need a triggering supply is required for our solar system. Then you need to run your DG set. Then the solar system will work only in your utility area, and within your premises only the system will work. Otherwise, there won't be any export of the power. Already there is no grid. You said it is. You mentioned it is a fault, right?
What I mean to say, the system is live, and means we are exporting the power to ST side, and that time fault has come.
No, Mr. Lalwani, I think just to add to what Mr. Govindraj said, if the system, if there is any, solar always takes reference from the grid voltage. So if you have a fault in your HT line and there is a fluctuation in your grid voltage, the first thing that shuts down is your solar power system because it doesn't have the reference voltage. So it will not that possibility that it can actually damage your service transformer.
Means first ST system will be tripped, then our system will be tripped.
No, Lalwani, actually see, solar will be first tripped because solar cannot feed the fault power actually. Fault power will feed from the grid. So grid breaker will trip and solar will trip immediately. So that will be the sequence.
And second question is regarding the break-even utility rate. Means in Odisha we are paying the utility rate at 5.5. Okay. So what is the break-even utility charge by solar system so that we can opt for this?
Yeah. So I'll just answer your first question.
If I compare with Maharashtra utility rate is quite higher. Okay.
No. I mean, we understand you, sir. The Orissa and Himachal Pradesh, there are a few states where the utility rates are low. But yeah. I think Mr. Govindraj already answered the question when he said he is breaking even in about 3 years because of the saving. So the point is that even when you have, let's say, something around 7 rupees or 6.5 rupees, the break-even periods are as short as about 4 years maybe, or 3.5 to 4 years. Now, in your case, the break-even may differ by a maximum a year. So instead of a 3-year, you may end up with a 4-year break-even. I'm sure Darshan would have shared the ROI model with you. In addition to that, you also have this accelerated depreciation that you can claim for when you're doing a capex. So that might have shortened or should shorten the break-even period. Now, so I don't see anything more than a 4 to 4.5 years as a break-even period, even in a state like Orissa, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
We can take you past that model again, and if you have any concerns, we can again look back at it. So because Mr. Govindraj right now is actually talking about a 1 megawatt plant in Orissa itself, in Bhubaneswar. So when he was mentioning about a capex investment for a 1 megawatt plant, correct me, Mr. Govindraj, if I'm wrong.
Yeah. See, again here, just I wanted to add on. It's again depends on what is the capacity you are looking at. Suppose if the capacity is a large scale, definitely your break-even will be better. That anyhow, there is a model we can work it out. What is the break-even time? But we have worked out in the Bhubaneswar plant in Analpatna. There our plant is situated. It is around 20 acres land. There we are coming up with the solar. So our break-even is coming somewhere around 3.5 years. We have worked out of the financial feasibility.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, a client himself telling me that break-even is 3.5 will add a lot of credence to the whole thing. Yeah, irrespective of what I say. Yeah.
So I also wanted to, Anup, clarify to Mr. Lalwani. So Lalwani, when you were asking me this question about the HT line tripping, what I could verify with my technical team is that the HT relay will trip first, and then the solar subsequently will actually trip. So the chance of so that's the sequence of the failure. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope the questions are answered, Mr. Lalwani.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Hitesh, I think, has another question. Go ahead, Mr. Hitesh.
Yes, my question for Govindraj sir.
Tell me, sir.
Sir, during synchronization, have you faced any voltage variation, frequency variation, or harmonic distortion like?
Sir, there is no problem, sir, because it is synchronized in the inverter. I mean, normally, see, this was the question which we are raised during our solar installation 4 years down the line. In the solar system, the synchronization is very, very simple. Those days, the synchronization was very tough, like frequency, voltage, and matching everything. Here, what happens in the inverter itself, almost synchronization will happen. So just they will synchronize with your LT panel, and there is no problem with the voltage, frequency, harmonics, nothing like that. And from the day one of our solar installation, we never faced any kind of problem with related to synchronization.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, we've already exceeded our time limit. However, are there any one last question? No, I think everybody is satisfied. For some specific questions, we will get back to our questioners. We will take it up offline. But I would like to thank especially Mr. Govindraj for taking his time out and giving us his own experience and perspective on solar. Secondly, I would like to thank all our prospective clients to actually openly participate in this and ask your questions. Hope that this session was useful to you. And please do let us know if you want any other queries answered by Mr. Govindraj or by the NAPARC team offline. We will take it up with Mr. Govindraj separately. Sir, I am committing on your behalf that if there's any question, I will come to you and
Sure, sir. Yeah. I can share my email ID and my telephone number. Anytime they can call me. No problem.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. That is very friendly
Yes.
of you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.